Hi, I'm Tabitha Williams, and welcome to What's Eating Harlem. We cover the most exciting community in the world. There's so much happening in Harlem. Let's get started.
Our lamb chops is so well known. The flavor, the presentation. Once you taste these, you'll come again and again.
Leon Ellis hasn't changed his menu in years because he gives the people what they want.
I think Langston Hughes had this marvelous ear.
In part 5 of Renaissance to Renaissance, we get into literary giant Langston Hughes. All of that and more coming up next.
This program was made possible by J.P. Morgan Chase & Company, the Harlem Community Development Corporation, and by the West Harlem Development Corporation. Solutions through collaboration.
Today, What's Eating Harlem is visiting veteran restaurateur Leon Ellis, who has operated businesses in Harlem for over 25 years. Here at Chocolat restaurant in Harlem, we'll ask Leon about his businesses and how he's been thriving in this pandemic. The last time we visited Leon Ellis, owner of Chocolat restaurant in Harlem, located at 2223 Frederick Douglass Boulevard, he was thriving with 3 establishments all on the same block. We have circled back after the devastating COVID pandemic, and Leon is still standing. Mr. Ellis, we're sitting here in Chocolat. Tell me, when did Chocolat originally open?
Chocolat opened in 2010. But before I get into that, I want to say it is such a pleasure to be sitting here being interviewed by you, because you probably know more about, or just as much as I do about Chocolat, because you grew up in Chocolat, right?
Chocolat is one of my favorite restaurants to visit while here in Harlem.
Right.
But
So
when you first opened and you were here in Harlem, what did Harlem look like in this area?
So that's an excellent question. Because when we came to the west side, we had a restaurant on the east side, which was 5th Avenue. It's called Emily's. And we first opened Mocha Bar and Lounge across the street with 119th Street. And then a couple of years later, we opened Chocolat. When we came over here, it was like the Wild Wild West. There were no restaurants. There were no businesses. As a matter of fact, it took a tremendous amount of incentive for us to come and open our restaurants over here, because nobody would. There were no other businesses until the supermarket came and a few other businesses came. And as a matter of fact, some of the building owners that were constructing those new apartments, they had prospective renters and buyers come and talk to us at Mocha just to make them feel comfortable that the area is changing.
As many businesses had to do during and after the COVID pandemic, Leon made many adjustments to keep his restaurant afloat.
Operationally for us, we had to reinvent everything that we did, because the restaurant was closed, as you know, for I think over a year or almost a year. And then the process of getting back into normal operations was a very, very slow process. So we had to adjust in every way as we went along. So we started doing more takeout and delivery. And we were just patient, because we knew that we built a really, really strong organization. So we knew that as soon as things changed, we would start coming back to normal, which is where we are now.
His staff was so very crucial to getting through the COVID crisis.
Most of the people who are currently working with us have been here for a long time. So it's like family. And working in our establishment, we create a family environment. That we care about each other, as we should, because we're interdependent, right? So we had weekly, bi-weekly, daily meetings with me telling them where we are, because they operate operationally. I'm more a helicopter view of what's happening, right? And so during this process, there are people who are loyal to us, who come to us because they know that and they believe that's an important thing to do. Besides, we have great food and it's a beautiful restaurant, right? So we have families and people who are really supportive for us. So that has been instrumental.
As one of the flagship restaurants here in Harlem, Leon has made Chocolat a place customers can look to as a solid presence in the community.
What's important for us at Chocolat as stakeholders, and one of the first establishments, and myself having done business in the community for well over 30 years, is that we have a responsibility to ourselves to be strong, right? To be fundamentally good. We're a black-owned business, 100% black-owned, which is, I'm very happy and to be able to say that, right? But we have a responsibility to function and operate our business at a level like any other business would. So when someone comes to us and they like to come here because we're black owned, that should just be the icing on the cake, because they're coming and I want them to feel within themselves, every experience here is a great experience. So fundamentally, we have to first make ourselves strong, right? So that we're able to grow, and we're able to grow and transcend the process that's going through Harlem now and has been going for a couple of years. So we continue to be strong. We need to empower the people around us, people who come to us, so when someone comes into a restaurant and they know this restaurant is black owned, they feel strong and powerful, and they feel empowered by being here.
The Chocolat menu through the years has not changed much, and that's by popular demand.
Our menu has not changed, as you know, over an extended period of time. Because there was a time when we tried to change and modify, we had major problems. People came in, they were so upset. Where's the beef? Where's this? Where's that? So I said, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna create a menu, solidify it, and then we're just gonna serve that food. So everything on our menu is excellent, because we do it all the time. We do it every day. And so it's important for us to maintain that high level of consistency. So I'm happy with it.
I'm happy with it too. And I'm looking forward to trying some of this delicious food. And thank you.
My pleasure.
Talk about when food looks like art. I mean, this looks good. I wish you guys could smell it. It smells good. Like, wow.
Not only does it look good, it smells great.
It smells really good. I'm salivating. So tell me what we have here.
So we have on the end the steak and eggs, standard steak and eggs. The major difference is it's Chocolat steak and eggs. And what happens, it comes with red bliss potatoes with sauces, onions and peppers, and it's a salad comes automatically with it.
Oh.
It's a combination that your taste buds would just jump up.
They're jumping now. So next up.
So this calamari salad is a standard. We had this since the first day we opened. And it has fans. People come from all over the country for this particular salad.
This calamari salad.
It's amazing.
And what kind of dressing is on it?
It's a peanut-based dressing. So that's important for people to know that if they have any allergies, they should let us know, and it says so on the menu. And right next to it, of course, is the Harlem chicken and waffles. It's totally amazing. Our chicken is incredible. We have a secret recipe, and the preparation is it's highly marinated, and the flavor goes all the way through.
So you're saying this shit's good?
It's good, essentially. Now, this shrimp and grits here, I want to let you know is the shrimp and grits. Now, lots of places do shrimp and grits, right? Mm-hmm. But our shrimp and grits is classic, and it's different. and we never compromise on it. As you know, we're known for red velvet pancakes.
Yes.
Right. So we decided to do the red velvet waffles also. And it's the same flavor with the chicken, and people come from all over for it. People love it. Now, lamb chops.
The lamb chops.
I know you feel about this lamb chop, but let me tell you.
I'm partial to the
I
lamb chops.
know. Our lamb chops is so well known. The flavor, the presentation. Once you taste these, you'll come again and again. We have guests, right, that come and order 3 orders of lamb chops and actually sit and eat them.
I can't believe someone's outdone me.
And then take some home, right? And then take some home. So this is amazing. There's no words there. I have no words to describe this. You just look at it and you know that you gotta have some of it. So this is just a sampling of the many things that we do here at the restaurant. And I want to say this, as I said when I spoke to you earlier, we haven't changed anything about anything that we fixed. It's the same recipe for all of these years, same presentation. So when someone comes to us and they sit and they order, lots of people come in and really don't ask for the menu. Oh, I know what I want.
They just know right away.
I know what I want. I don't need to see the menu. And so that's the familiarity that we have with our guests. You know, the family feeling, the home cooking and stuff like that.
What's Eating Harlem wants to get you involved. Visit our website, www.whatseatingharlem.com. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and like our Facebook. It's so important the way that you read If We Must Die with so much passion and fury. And this was 1919.
Right, 1919.
And in 2022, we're still facing the same thing.
Right.
Saying, I'm a man, see me. Wow. It's just the struggle of Black people. It's the whole
It's Black Lives Matter.
It is Black Lives Matter.
Right. We're going to move on to Langston Hughes. Now that's the name that you know. Langston Hughes was born in Joplin, Missouri. He wrote his first poem, the Negro Speaks of Rivers. I thought he was 17, but he might have been 19 when he wrote that poem. I have to look that up. But he writes that, and that's published in 1921. So this is early. Because remember, Survey Graphic is not published until 1925.
Okay.
Right? So he's published earlier. County Cullen has published earlier. Jean Toomer has published earlier. So you're getting a whole
I'm getting a
thing.
whole lesson. I'm looking back and thinking to myself, I did not learn this in school. A lot of these names, when covering the Harlem Renaissance, it was like, we'll give you two people.
Yeah.
We've covered it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, that's why it's up to us to expand on what little we know, or to ask a question about some things we don't know. Only to discover that there's so much in it that you could just love, and that adds even more dimension and texture to how you live and think.
Absolutely. I'm becoming culturally edified. And so thank you.
No, thank you for participating. It makes it so much more fun. So Langston writes The Negro Speaks of Rivers, which you have. But I'm going to just recite one of the poems that L.A. Locke has in the Survey Graphic, called I Too Sing America. Now, which is interesting, this poem, my little neighbor next door, who lives next door to me, says, oh, you know, Miss Lana, I have to do this poem. I said, oh, would you recite it to me? And so he just recites it. No one recites a poem like that in my house, I said. You must internalize this poem. So when you say it, I want to know that you really feel what the writer is saying to you. So the poem is I Too Sing America. I, too, sing America. I am the darker brother. They send me to the kitchen to eat when company comes. But I laugh and eat well and grow strong. Tomorrow, I'll sit at the table when company comes. Nobody'll dare say to me, eat in the kitchen then. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I, too, am America. So imagine my little neighbor. He comes up, oh, Miss Lana, say it again, Freddie. Say that poem one more time so I can hear you say that poem one more time.
Oh.
We must learn to, you know, have our children recite poems like this. It used to be a part of our tradition, and I think we need to do it more often. Because once something like that is internalized, you may not be called on the stage to do it, but when you internalize it, you know that you're beautiful always. And that someone way back in the 1920s told you how beautiful you were. And you could walk around and say, I too sing America. I'm the darker brother. They send me to the kitchen to eat. You know, I'll do that, but I'm going to be eating well, and I'm going to grow strong. Tomorrow, nobody will tell me to go to the kitchen. Besides, they're going to see how beautiful I am, and they'll be ashamed. I, too, am American. And you know, the way in which this is written, and I think the intent, it's really about everyone. You don't have to be the darker brother in that way. You could be the brother who's from Asia, the brother who's from Latin America. the brother from Africa. You can be every brother.
Right.
I too, if you are here, I too am American. The idea is that we're all supposed to share the blanket of humanity. And in Langston's poem, when he's really talking about Black folks at the time, you can read this poem and realize you can apply this anywhere. It could be anyone saying this poem, right? Because it really does apply that way. And I think Langston Hughes had this marvelous ear. Of course, we can think about his blues poems, his children's poems, his poems about theater, his poems about coming to New York, his poems about going to Columbia University. You know, his father wanted him to study engineering, and he went there, and he said, "This is not for me. How do I make my way to the Y on 135th Street, which is where he went?" And he was like, "Okay, my education is right down here in the streets." And of course, his father cut him off. His father was a Black man who moved to Mexico because he no longer felt that he could stand being discriminated against. So he would finance Langston for as long as Langston was doing what he wanted him to do, and that was to go to Columbia and be an engineer. Langston said, "Father, it's not happening."
No, I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that. I might have to work as a busboy, which he did. I might have to shovel coal, which he did. I might have to be a waiter, which he did. He pursued all those jobs, but he was the only one, actually, out of this whole group who could actually make a living out of being a poet. Not easy. Try being a poet now and making a living, just running around. He went through the South, he got in a car, and read his poems to campuses and schools and churches, and that's how people got to know his work. So we have to think about times being very different and life being very different. To will yourself to be a writer, to be a poet. He didn't always have a very easy life, but he took his poetry seriously, took his writing seriously. So as he worked as a stevedore or a waiter, or lived with his aunt and uncle Toy on St. Nicholas Avenue and eventually on 127th Street, he took himself seriously. You know, Langston, according to his secretary, used to, he didn't live too far from Lenox Avenue. He used to have his traditional walk around Harlem in the evenings. You know, he'd stop at all the same places, see all the same people, you know, but he wanted to see the streets, and he always wrote about the street.
His traditional walk. Would he walk uptown or?
Oh, well, no, he was off of Lenox, not too far from Lenox. And there were bars and clubs. He didn't have to go anywhere. Lenox. Maybe 7th.
Okay.
Yeah, he had all his entertainment right where he lived.
That's still true today.
Yeah, it's still true. But it was more true then because there were more
establishments.
Yeah, there are places now. They're not the same as when he was.
I just meant the entertainment of just people on the street.
Well, that's exactly what he wrote about. People on the street. Definitely a part of what Alain Locke would have thought about in terms of the writers that he was looking for. Langston certainly would fit that bill.
That's all we have for now. Join us next time on What's Eating Harlem. See you uptown.
This program was made possible by J.P. Morgan Chase & Company, the Harlem Community Development Corporation, and by the West Harlem Development Corporation. Solutions through collaboration. Also by the Greater Harlem Chamber of Commerce and Harlem Park to Park.